was the day that I came home and found a used condom on my bed, and my whole life turned upside down. Like my entire life. Flying back from Antigua, we had a connecting flight in Miami. Why was he on my flight coming home from Miami? Bro. We're gonna get into it. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Kobe Lomax. I am the CEO of Curly Hair. And in today's video, I am going to be talking to y'all about how to heal and move on from the people who hurt you while I do my hair. For my OG subscribers, y'all know this literally used to be like how my videos were. You know, the 2018, 2019. And I just felt so inspired to just talk about my healing journey. And like, I'm just so proud of myself and how far I have come given the things that I've gone through, and then I've learned so much about mental health and whatnot. Also, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, so I just feel like it just making so much sense. But I also feel like the timing of this video too is so spot on because for a couple of reasons. Side note, this video is like low-key about to be a podcast, but if you see my other videos where I was like talking, like teaching y'all like things that I've learned or whatever, it's gonna be very like that. So it's gonna be good, I promise. It's gonna be full of value. I spent a lot of time thinking through the things I want to talk about today, and I'm gonna get very vulnerable. You're gonna find out some tea in this video that you didn't know, maybe you didn't want to know, I don't know. But regardless, I think that me being vulnerable with the lessons that I've learned in my life are really gonna help somebody else, you know? And so let's get into it, man. The timing of this video is so perfect because, like I said, A, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. B, summer is right around the corner, and I want y'all to be able to go into summer healed, happy. Like, I want y'all to be able to go into this summer like without a care in the world, just enjoying yourself, having the time of your life. Like, I want y'all to be outside and not be outside because you're running away from your fears or your traumas or your triggers or whatever the case. No, we're letting all those go. We are processing all those. We are healing all those. I want y'all to be outside, for real outside. Like, y'all, I just got back from Antigua literally on Monday. It's Friday right now. I got back from Antigua on Monday. When I tell you I had the time of my life. And every year, every May, my family goes on a big family trip for my sister's birthday. And last year was an amazing trip, but I had to say, like, if I'm being honest, it didn't feel the same way this one felt. Now me being so much more healed from everything that I went through, but I was able to have a time carefree, nothing stuck on my mind. I had the time of my life in Antigua. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen a little bit of that, but I want y'all to be able to be outside this summer for real. But the timing of this is perfect. I washed my hair. I used the Olaplex shampoo and conditioner, the one I always use. I will link it down below. And then I use the As I Am Leave-In, which I also always use. I'll link that down below as well. Now I'm about to go in with the Big Papa hair gel, which I always use. I'll have this link down below too. I'm about to get started on my hair. Another reason why the timing of this video is so perfect is because literally almost exactly a year ago, April 7th, 2023, was the day that I came home and found a used condom on my bed, and my whole life turned upside down. Like my entire life, bro. We're gonna get into it. That was one of the lowest lows of my life. I never experienced something like that. I literally moved out that same day. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. No, I've had enough. Man, it was bad. It was really bad, but I've healed and I'm here as a testimony to tell my story and to share my lessons with you. Because I can honestly say, like, after doing the work to heal, and I want to say it took me like a whole year, honestly. After doing the work though, it's like I've forgiven, I unlocked this different level of like joy and peace and love, and like it's amazing. It's totally worth it. Was it hard? Yes, but it was so worth it. The first thing I wanted to touch on is if someone hurt you, you know, and it could be in a lot of different capacities. If it's possible, you have to remove them. You have to remove your exposure to them to the best of your ability, because you cannot heal a wound if you keep picking at it. And when you have exposure to the person that hurt you, it's kind of like you keep picking at a wound that's trying to heal, and you just keep picking at it and picking at it and picking at it, and it's only making it worse. It's only gonna leave deeper scars. It doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. You know, it really hinders your healing. Remove yourself from them, block them on everything, no more communication. This is just my process. This is just how I heal from literally everything that I've been through. Remove access to them. You don't need to see them. Don't go checking on them either. Again, you are trying to heal this wound, and you cannot do that if you keep picking at it. So First step is to remove your exposure to them. Block them on whatever you got to block them on. And if you do have extra doings with them for whatever reason, try to wrap that up as soon as possible if you can. And that's not to say that it has to be forever, but just for this period of time where you are trying to heal from whatever they caused you. You don't need to see them. You don't need to check their Instagram. You don't need to text them. You don't need to get a phone call from them. You don't need any exposure to them if it is at all possible. Hold on. It's kind of hard doing this because I can't really see that good because I'm just looking at this little screen. But the next step in the process is to feel the depths of your emotions. This is a really hard part, especially because a lot of times when somebody hurts you, you just try to avoid it. And I feel like your ego, part of it is like your ego is trying to be like, oh, I don't want you to feel like I don't want to feel like you hurt me or you made me cry or you made me feel sad or whatever the case may be. The reality is you're sad, and the more you kind of cover that up and disguise it, it's only going to make it worse. It's only going to make the wounds deeper. It's only going to keep you triggered for longer. It's not going to help you heal and move on. And that's the goal. We're trying to heal and move on. In this part of the process is like you want to explore the depths of everything that you're feeling from the situation so that you can familiarize yourself with these feelings so that you can then like analyze them and figure out like, okay, what made me feel like this? Why did it make me feel like this? Because then you can work like backwards. You can work backwards from that, you know? Like literally what I do is I would sit there and think about like, okay, what did they do wrong? What did I do wrong? What could this have been? How much you didn't deserve? What happened? Think about like how you had an original, you know, vision or intention for what this could have been and now it's never going to be. Like really explore the depths of these feelings. And yes, a lot of things are going to come up that you don't want to feel, and it's okay. It's a part of the process. You have to acknowledge them before you can fix them. And this may bring up tears, and this is a very important point. This may bring up tears. If they come, let them. I would actually encourage you to allow yourself to cry, because that's just leading you to the next part, which is to release all of this. Release these feelings. Release the hurt. Release the pain. You have to get that stuff out some way. And there are lots of ways, you know, of releasing, but one of the best ways in my experience is crying. Literally, when all this stuff happened to me, you know, and I literally like, I remember that day I felt something I felt like something's happening at my house right now. Something's happening. I just felt it in my spirit. I just felt so uneasy. I was at work and literally I come home, find a condom on my bed. I'm like, oh no, this is it. I literally moved out that same day, moved into my best friend's house, and literally for like the next 2 weeks, when I wasn't at work, I was at home crying. I was processing. I was releasing. I had to get all that out. What ends up happening is there comes a point where it doesn't make you cry anymore. You don't feel the need to release anymore. And then now you're at a stable ground where you can think about and like kind of reflect on what happened from a logical standpoint and kind of really break it apart and break it down and figure out what really happened. And it doesn't have as much of an emotional stir on you. It still will at this point, but it's not going to be so much that you can't think straight or you can't think logically about the situation so that you can really unpack what happened and why did it make me feel this way. That's a really important part in the beginning of the journey, is like releasing it. Release these feelings and don't think of it as like, oh, you're making me cry. Those tears, this has nothing to do with them. Nothing at this point has anything to do with them. They're done. This has nothing to do with them. This has everything to do with you. And if you let your ego be like, oh, I'm not going to cry over them. Literally all you're doing is postponing your healing, because again, these tears are not for them. These tears are for you to release what happened. As much as you want to try to say, oh, I don't care, it hurt. These things hurt. You're human. It's okay. It's okay. It's literally okay. And if you don't want it to hurt anymore, and if you don't want to have these feelings towards whatever situation, happened to you or whoever hurt you, if you want to move on, you have to face these feelings. You cannot avoid them. All you do is push them down further, and then they stay there. And now you have triggers for the rest of your life. Every time you hear this person's name, you're triggered. Anytime you see them, you're triggered. Anytime you hear their favorite song, you're triggered, because you're not willing to do the work of releasing because, oh, I don't want to cry over them. They hurt you. You should cry over them. But it's not about them. It's about you releasing whatever happened. You got to get it out somehow. Another really amazing way that this is kind of new for me of releasing, you know, what kind of happened is writing. If you can explore the depth of the feelings of whatever you went through in a creative way, it makes it more fun. It makes it a little less scary. And what comes of it usually is really good art. And this was my experience. I had a lot of things where it's like I couldn't understand how I felt about it. I just couldn't. I didn't understand. I was trying to pick it apart and I just couldn't like put my finger on like, what is this? Why do I feel this way? What is making me feel this way? And so I turned to writing songs. You know, I would play a beat and it's like something would turn on. It's almost felt like this like divine connection that just literally started like spewing out of me. And in a like melodic way, because I was listening to music, and it's like I'm writing my feelings in a song, and it helped me so much understand how I was feeling about everything. It helped so much. It was a massive release for me to make these songs, you know, especially because like, you know, like you guys know one of my like big life, you know, goals is to be able to like make music and like go tour and like perform. You know, that's the one thing I love the most. And it was just so crazy to think that some of my best work to date came out of this situation as a healing tool for me. You know, it's just like so beautiful. I was able to turn this pain and confusion into clarity and artwork that is so beautiful. And what was even more insane to me was back in March, this past March, I did my first open mic and literally I had the most overwhelming response to me singing my songs. People were asking for more, asking for encores. I was only supposed to do 3 songs. I ended up doing 6 and they weren't even done, but people just wanted to hear them. People were coming from like in the building that the open mic was in. People were coming from other places like, wait, I want to hear that. Wait, can you do that one again? Oh my God, we came over to see what happened. It was the most insane thing. I can sing the other one again.
I'm here for the song. They all good.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow. I'm still so shocked. I've been thinking about today for like a month. All right. Cheated on me, stayed somehow. Try that shit another round. I'd rather be myself without you. Should have left the first time, but I thought I'd give a second chance. But damn, I'm over. This romance is raining, and I can't forget. Protect my heart from breaking, 'cause I can't fix you, but I tried. I might go to the other side. I can't fit you in my life. I tried, oh, I tried. I can't. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do the next one, and then I can run that back. All right, the next song is called AMC. Take it from me, won't get no hoe out of me. 11, 12, or 13, I don't know how to compete. I don't know how to compare. Realize this shit ain't that fair. How I'm competing with niggas you only watch on your square. Muster the patience to bear, reaching the top of that ceiling. I just can't deal with these feelings. They're not really familiar. Sometimes I wish you would die. Jump off that ship and go swimming. Maybe you run out of air. Don't have a care, what's the difference? I say go drifting and drifting. Might just come pay you a visit. Ride AMC in the sand. Tell me how that shit sound. Let the sky lanterns go high. Maybe the angels could try. Go free your spirit to fly. Sing my lullaby. Bring my paradise. Wild out when you rather not try. Poker face, you're showing all your cards. I'd have thought you was blind. I was blind as a night. I don't got no one to lift you up. No, it wasn't my fault. Better than me. Better than me. Ain't gonna find nobody better than me. I feel like a sprinkle of the highlight of my bigger purpose was shown to me that night as a result of me using writing, a creative outlet, as a way to understand my feelings so that I could heal. It was the most insane thing to me, you know? But I think like, had I not had the courage to face what was going on and I tried to just, oh, I don't care. No, blah, 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 I would have never came to this. But again, mental health has always been a big deal for me, and so I that was a priority, and it just so happened that I stumbled across using a creative outlet to understand my feelings in a time where there was a lot of new feelings that I didn't understand, that I never experienced. I never thought I would experience too. They literally like blindsided me. Now I'm going to get really vulnerable with you guys because I really want to nail these points home and give you guys a real life and a real hard experience that I personally went through to maybe inspire you or give you some courage to really face your fears, okay? Really face your fears, face your emotions. That's the way through. That's the way to get to this most healed, high version of yourself who, can live free. Okay, so when me and my ex broke up, we were still living together. We had an apartment together. He decides to bring one of his old hookups to our house, and I was there. And then proceeded to lie to me about who this person was, even though I already knew who this person was because he had previously mentioned and shown me this said person. Literally, the moment I saw him, I just froze. I literally was like a statue like this. And I was shaking too like this. Like I've never, ever felt a feeling like that in my life. I literally just stood there like a statue because I couldn't trust myself. I didn't know what I was about to do. I didn't know what I was capable of. I had no idea, but I just could not trust myself to move in that moment because I didn't know what I was about to do. And so I literally just stood there like a statue. It was the most awkward thing. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I literally just stood there like a statue until I could get a grip of my mind, my conscious mind, and be like, Kobe, just go to the room and shut the door. And so yeah, that was one of the worst days of my life. Then over the next couple of days, my ex was hooking up with people left and right. I mean, it was insane. It really hurt me because being completely vulnerable, when we were together, we weren't having any intimacy for months. And it's not my choice, but I'm respecting you and I'm respecting your space. I'll give you time to figure out what's going on or whatever, because every time I asked, there was no answer. And so then it's okay, for now, us not to be together anymore. And now all of a sudden you're in the mood all the time and going one after the other. It was whoa. It really hurt me, and it really made me feel insecure. It made me feel so unwanted, undesirable. It was rough. It was rough. So this went on for 7 days, and on the 7th day, that was the icing on the cake when my ex brought somebody over and had them in my bed after I had asked on the first day when the old hookup came over, hey, can you not bring these people over to our house? Can you do this somewhere else? We both still live here. I'm not doing anything like that. Could you please not? And then for you to go ahead and still do it. And in my bed, and I say my bed because 95% of the house was mine. We were both on a lease, but everything in the house was mine. It was just the biggest slap in the face. And then the fact that you're not even care enough to clean up after yourself. I have to sleep in this bed. I'm the one who sleeps in this bed. You sleep on my couch. I sleep on my bed. And you're going to go and do that in my bed after I ask you not to. And then don't even clean up after yourself. And then lie to me about it. I thought this was somebody who loved me. We were we're going to still be cool. We're still going to be friends. And then you're lying to me, blaming it on my dog. Oh yeah, that was in my backpack. The dog went in my backpack and took it out. Yeah, because my dog can unzip your backpack and go on in there and take that out and put it on the bed. He set you up. He set you up. Bro, when I tell you, these were some of the worst days. This week was probably the worst week of my life. And it caused so much hurt and pain and stuff that I knew I was going to have to do a lot of work to heal through and get past. But I knew I was going to do it, because that's what I've done in the past. Every time I went through something hard, I would take my time. I would sit with my feelings. I would explore them. I would understand them. I'll accept them, Hey, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not hurt. I'm hurt. You hurt me. I accept it, because that's the only way I can face them. And it's a scary thing to do, but it's the only way I can face my feelings and unpack them. So that way then I can work through them. So that way I can heal from them, because I gained a new perspective on them, right? Which we're going to get into. And now you have no power over me anymore. And this is the goal. This is what I mean when I was saying, be outside for real. Like nothing's on your mind, nothing's clogging your brain, nothing's got you triggered, nothing. You are able to live free of anything and anyone who ever hurt you. Free. It's so worth it. And I knew I was going to do the work, but I knew it was going to be a lot. And I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew it was going to take some time. And I did it. But so yeah, literally the next 2 weeks after that happened was me sitting like in my room, like thinking like, bro, what did I do to deserve this? Like, why me? Like I didn't deserve this. Like, we were gonna go and be so great, and then afterwards, like, we were gonna be friends still. Like, I wanted to be cool. Like, you know, I was trying to keep it cool. Like, why did you disrespect me? Like, I have done nothing to you to deserve this. You know, like, my mind just went because I needed to explore all the feelings of what was going on. This way, and this way. Like, I'm angry over here. Let's explore the anger. All the anger that I have in me right now. Let's see it. Let's explore it. Let's get comfortable with it, right? Hey, I'm here to help. Sorry I put us through this. You know, because we're gonna get into how you gotta take accountability, right? For your part you play in a situation. Even if you were the victim, in some way, shape, or form, you subjected yourself to this, right? And so I'm gonna come over here to my anger. I'm gonna say, hey, I understand you're angry. Let me see it. Let me hear it. I'm gonna come over to my sadness, right? I'm gonna cry it out. I understand we're sad. Let me hear it. Up here, I'm hopeless, right? So I'm gonna come up to my hopelessness. I know we wanted this to happen. We wanted that to happen. I hear you. Come on, let me hear it. Tell me everything. You know, you're like really like saying, hey, all these feelings that I'm feeling right now, come talk to me. I want to understand so I can help. I can help us move through this, right? You have to explore them. So I literally, for the 2 weeks after, you know, I moved out and everything happened, like literally I would go to work and work would keep me distracted. I would be at work, and then when I would come home, I'm like, I need to explore the depths of my feelings. If I needed to, I would put on some sad music, you know, and I would just, man, we were supposed to do this, and we were supposed to do this together, and we were supposed to do this together, and you screwed it up, and like, why did you do this to me? And then even exploring like feelings like shame, one of the lowest human emotions. I'm ashamed of myself for letting me putting myself through this. I'm ashamed for dealing with somebody like you. I'm ashamed of myself that I got close to somebody like you. Like, exploring it all, you know? I need to get comfortable with everything that I'm feeling right now, so that way I can spend some time with it to undo it. And it's hard. It's not easy. This is why people become alcoholics. Like, this is why people become addicted to things, because they help them escape from their feelings. But now it's like you're a slave to this substance. And we don't want to be like that. We want to be free. Free, okay? Free. All the way. Like, be outside. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would explore the feelings as much as I could and just, you know, cry it out and release all of that. Like, get it out. Get all the emotion out. Cry it out. For some of the feelings that I couldn't describe, I didn't know how to describe. This is one of the things where therapy is so valuable, because the therapist can describe them a lot of times. You're like, I'm sad. The therapist start asking you questions. You're not sad. You're hopeless. You have all of this emotion going on because you fear everything that you wanted to happen isn't going to happen, and maybe it'll never happen. You're not sad. You're hopeless. They're able to like help you understand a lot of these emotions that we as humans go through, but you don't learn this in school. You don't learn how to identify and acknowledge your different emotions. And if you grow up in a family or home that's like very well versed in this information, then that's a whole different story. I feel like I'm proud to say that our generation, our kids are going to grow up understanding these things, but our parents and their parents didn't get this when they were growing up. And so a lot of times it's literally just a free-for-all, you know? And a lot of people do just avoid the feelings and the emotions and the things that are going on. But somebody who wants to be healed and free from all of that, it's important for you to explore these different emotions. And so for the ones that I just couldn't get a grip around, either because I didn't understand them, or a lot of it was I never experienced them. This is my first relationship. I have never experienced almost all of these negative emotions that I am feeling right now. And so because of that, the ones that I couldn't understand, I turned to creativity, and that helped me, because like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like I'd be writing things and I would be like, how did I come up with that? Like, that totally wasn't me. Like, it was me, but it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? And so that helped me a lot. That helped me a ton. Channeling all that in some creative outlet. And it made some beautiful artwork that I'm really, really proud of. And I can't wait to put out and show you guys. I'll probably be showing you guys little snippets and stuff here and there. But I cannot wait now to take the product of what started as such a dark time in my life, but with the courage to face it and understand it, and to turn it into something so beautiful, and that now people get to experience, and so far people are loving it's one of the best feelings in the world. So I'm exploring my emotions. The ones that I can't understand, I'm writing, and a lot that's helped me a lot. And then also too, another thing that helped me a ton was looking up, hey, this happened to me. Looking on Reddit and hearing similar stories, it's so interesting when you hear other people explain what you went through. It puts it in a different perspective, or it helps you understand, or sometimes it just helps you not feel alone. And that in itself can give you the courage to keep exploring this and to know that all right, I ain't alone in this. So let's figure this out. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get over this? How am I going to get past this? And then another thing is just watching videos. One of my favorite podcasts is called Thought Catalog, and it covers a lot of the topics dealing with emotions when it comes to relationships, and it covers other things too, but this is what I listen to it for. And a lot of those podcast episodes helped me understand how I was feeling, and also gave me hope that you can get through this. This is a human experience thing, it happens, and this is how you get through it, and people have done it before, and you will too. So that helped a ton, and we'll get more into that. And another thing that is extremely helpful, and I learned this when I went through my little first crisis. That crisis when you're 18, 19, 20, and you're just spiraling out of control because you're what am I going to do with my life? I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I feel like a failure, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if y'all have that, but me, I've always been very ambitious. And so it's when I just felt confused, I don't know what I'm doing. And I also felt the pressure to have it all figured out. Man, that sent me into a spiral. One of the worst times in my life. But getting through that, healing through that, understanding and exploring those emotions. This gave me my first big experience with understanding and exploring my emotions. And then just taking that further and getting through that, it really helped me. And one of the things that I learned during that time was talk to people. I was so in my head back at that time. I was so in my head about, I don't know what to do with my life, blah, 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 blah. And I start talking to people, and they're like, yeah, child, I felt that same way when I was 20. You'll be all right. You ain't got to have it all figured out. You got time. Even if you spend the next 10 years doing nothing, you're 30. You got time. When I tell y'all, literally, that piece of advice alone, completely took me out. It took me out completely of that spiral. I was oh, this is literally all in my head. I know 30-year-olds. They have, you know what I'm saying? They got time. There's no rush. And when I tell y'all, that literally, changed my life. And so ever since then, I'm yeah, no. If I'm ever going through anything, I am going to talk to people. People that I trust, obviously. But I'm going to talk to people about it. Because all it takes for one person to say one thing that completely changed your perspective, and now you look at this whole thing differently, and it's over. It's done. I was putting myself through suffering. All I had to do was talk to somebody. And so ever since then, yeah, now I talk to people. And so this can be a hard thing, especially if you're a really private person, or you're the kind of person where you want everybody to think that everything's okay and you're good, or whatever the case may be. Here's the reality of that. A lot of times, especially people who love you, they know something's wrong. They know. You don't even have to tell them. They know. They already know. But the other thing is, somebody that cares about you, hearing about what's going on, something that you're going through, having them interpret it through their perspective, because everybody's perspective is different. Everybody has a different life, grew up differently, believes different things, understands different things, understands the world differently. Having what you're going through interpreted through their perspective They might be able to relate to you, which will make you feel like you're not alone and like there's hope, especially if they've gotten through whatever they went through. B, they can give you some advice that can help you more tactically move through what you're going through. C, they're speaking of your experience from an unemotional standpoint because you're emotional about it. So you're not all the way logical. They're not emotional about it. So they can bring some logic to what you're going through at this time, you know? And then the other thing is they could literally say something that completely changes everything for you, or connect you to somebody who can help you, or connect you to an opportunity that can change your situation, or whatever the situation is. Tell you something that you didn't know existed, and now all of a sudden you have a solution to the problem. But nobody knows if you don't speak. Nobody can help you if you don't speak up. You subject yourself to suffering alone. You gotta talk to people. We're all here for each other. You can't do this life alone. My mom always says that. You can't do this life alone. She said, I'm 55. You can't do this life alone. But she's not wrong, you know? And so that always helps me. Anything I'm going through, talk to people. Talk to people you trust. If you have a hard time, like, you know, opening up about hard things that you're going through, find the person that's the most open or the most open-minded, right? Like the person that just like doesn't judge anything, like they're so open to whatever, like the way they think is just like very open-minded. Talk to them. And if you don't know somebody like that, the person that you know the most about, like they're so open with you, they are not afraid to tell you anything. Talk to them. You know that that's somebody that you could be vulnerable with, and they will be vulnerable with you. Like if they have a story from their own experience to share with you that might help you, give you a little bit of courage to face what you're dealing with, or inspire you to, you know, do something that you're afraid of, or confront a feeling that maybe you're afraid of. If they're able to share an experience with you that may be able to inspire you, it can really help your journey. It can make you feel like you're not alone. It can make you feel like all the stuff that you're going through, you have somebody to talk to. And you're not handling it alone. It's almost like hooking your healing up to like a supercharger or something. Like it just helps so much. As hard as it is, talk to people. The people that care about you want to help you, and they can't if you don't talk to them. You know, I think that was a big thing for me. Certain things that I went through, and people were like, why didn't you say something sooner? Like we could have helped you. We could have prevented this, you know. It doesn't work for everything. But for a lot of things, they were like, Kobe, you should have said something. And now I always say something, okay? Lesson learned. I didn't have to go through a lot of the things that I went through, at least, or a lot of lessons that I had to learn the hard way, had I just spoke up about whatever was going on or whatever was happening. And so I think healing and processing your feelings, very similar. Talk to somebody that cares about you, about how you're feeling or what you're going through. And if you need to find professional help too to do that, because you don't want to talk to anybody that you know or you're close with, that's A-okay too. Like if you can find a therapist, y'all know I love BetterHelp. They don't know you from a can of paint. So they don't know your family. They don't know your friends. They're not going to go gossip about you. They literally can't. Legally, they can't, you know. But they're trained and educated to help you with these type of things. And so I'm about to give y'all some examples of how I applied some of these things and what I learned from them and how they helped me heal through the situation that I just explained to y'all. Okay, so through talking to people, one of my ex's friends actually told me that he actually cared about me. And he called me and, you know, he asked me, like, how was I feeling and whatnot. And, you know, I just kind of told him a little bit of, like, how I was feeling and whatnot. And he was telling me, like, yeah, honestly, like, hearing all this stuff, like, I'm not really surprised. Like, he's just, like, really immature and has a lot of growing up to do. And this kind of took me by surprise because he put up a facade for me, you know, showed me somebody completely different than he was with from certain ones of his friends. You know, he always acted different around me and put on his best behavior and blah, blah, blah. And so this took me by surprise, but it was something that really helped me take some of the blame off of me, because as I was like desperate for answers of like, why this and why that and why would you do this to me? The only thing that I can make sense of, because our human brains want to make sense of things, is I'm pointing the fingers back at me. I'm like, well, maybe I wasn't this enough, or maybe I wasn't that enough, or maybe I did this too much, or maybe I did that too much, or maybe I was too loud, or maybe I was too quiet, or maybe I needed to be more aggressive. Kobe, you don't need to be nobody but yourself. That's enough. But hearing that from his own friend's perspective, and then like, you know, me being like, whoa, I didn't know that. Like, this is not who I knew him to be. And it helped a lot of things make sense. It helped me stop putting so much blame on myself that honestly didn't belong to me, you know? And it really helped me start to see him for who he really was, which was a really helpful part in my healing. Another thing that was extremely helpful for me in my healing journey, and that I've been able to pass on to some of my friends to help them get through the things that they're going through, was one of my friends talking to her, one of my friends saying like, he sounds codependent, and then describe it to me what that meant, because up until this point I didn't know really what that was. But she was saying like, codependent people, like, they latch onto you for something, whatever their reason is. You might not know the reason, that's not important. What you need to know is they latch onto you for something. They're getting something from you, whether it's validation, whether it's they're running away from their demons and you're a distraction, whether it's they just don't want to be alone, they can't be alone, whether it's your money, whether it's your status, whatever it is. It could be anything, but they're latching onto it. But they're only there for that. And so when that's removed, they completely switch up. They're going to do whatever they have to do to keep what they are getting from you, to keep this benefit that they're getting from you. Their attachment to you is with what they get from you. It's not about you. It was never about you. And me being able to understand like, damn, this whole relationship was never about me. You were getting something from me that you saw valuable. And so you were on your best behavior with me, and you tried to do everything right. Instead of being yourself, you try to do everything right. And then whatever you were getting from me, I don't know what that is, none of my business. But whatever it was, whenever that was taken away, you literally completely switched up on me. As if I was like a stranger. Like literally, I felt like a stranger in my own house. That helped me so much. It helped unlock so much understanding and everything that was going on. And once again, stop putting unnecessary blame on me and see the situation for what it is. You never loved me. You don't love yourself. How could you love me? You were here for whatever it was that you were getting from me. And now that that's gone, you have nothing to do with me. I might as well be a stranger to you. And that helped me so much understand, like, wow, okay, this shit was never about me. All this stuff, I'm like, oh, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. I'm this, I'm that. Maybe I need to be this, maybe I need to be that. None of this has anything to do with you. Nothing. And that helped me so much. It helped me release so much unnecessary stuff I was putting on myself just for the sake of wanting answers. And again, that came from talking to my friends, and they're able to offer this perspective and offer that perspective. It really helped a lot. I'm trying to tell you guys, talk to people. It can help. Another thing that was extremely helpful for me was a podcast that I was listening to, because again, in search to understanding your feelings after you've explored them, or while you're exploring them, you can go to resources online. So I was listening to a lot of podcasts around healing from a breakup and understanding your feelings and your emotions and all these type of things. And I came across this podcast, and it was talking about how like people aren't evil. Nobody's born evil. Babies don't come out evil. People are generally good. But what happens is somewhere along people's life, somewhere along their journey, they have things that they don't know how to deal with, and they grow up around people who don't show them how to deal with these things because maybe they don't know how to deal with them themselves. And so they find their own ways to deal with them. And sometimes those behaviors are reinforced by whatever, right? Maybe every time somebody was emotional, they go hook up. Or every time they're flustered or they're feeling something, they drink. And that makes them feel better. And even though it's not necessarily good, they didn't come out that way, but this is what they learned that helps them. And because they maybe didn't have the courage or the understanding or the knowledge to face their feelings, like I'm telling you guys to do right now, or they didn't want to, because it's not an easy thing to do. What I'm telling you guys to do right now is not an easy thing to do at all. But it's so worth it. Or people who take advantage of people. Somewhere along the line, that behavior was reinforced. Somewhere along the line, maybe somebody showed them, or they thought, or somebody taught them, or they observed somebody else take advantage of somebody else, or maybe they were taken advantage of, and they got it in their head that in order for me to win in life, I have to take advantage of people. And so they did it, and it worked. And now that behavior was reinforced, and now they take advantage of people. People aren't generally evil. It's just somewhere along their path, somewhere along their line, somewhere along their journey, their behaviors have been reinforced. And so this is what they know to be true for them. Understanding that made me stop judging my ex. Like, oh no, you're not evil. It's so fun to like, you're an effed up person and you're so evil and why would you do this to me? You needed blah, 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 blah. You need help. It's so fun to villainize somebody who hurt you because they are a villain in your story. But I think the higher approach is understanding nobody's evil. Somewhere along the line in their life, they just learned that these behaviors are what they needed to do to help them through this or through that or whatever. And that allowed me to give grace. You know, that allowed me to give so much grace. And not only to my ex, but to anyone that's doing anything that is wrong or mean or or nasty or disrespectful or anything, somewhere along the line, they learned that this is the best way to be for them. And I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm just going to remove myself. I hope that somewhere, sometime in your journey, maybe that's shifted, maybe that perspective is shifted, and you learn something new, and now you learn a new way of being. You're able to come out on the other end of that. But that's not my job or my responsibility. You handling and dealing with your stuff is not my responsibility. It's yours and yours alone. That just helped me so much. Just have so much grace, and it helped me heal because I was able to remove myself from this looking at you as this negative, nasty, dark, evil person. You're just somebody who's hurting inside, never learned how to navigate life, never learned how to heal, never learned how to deal with their feelings, never experienced love. It's honestly sad, It's honestly sad when you look at it that way. And I think it did. It just helped me have a lot of grace in my heart towards him. That doesn't mean he has access to me. He's still blocked on everything. It's very much so. You lost permission. Access denied. But in my heart, I don't have any hatred towards him. I honestly hope he figures it out and does better one day. Just as I kind of feel about anyone who, intentionally does things to hurt people, they're just out here struggling. And unfortunately, they put that on to other people because hurt people are going to hurt people. How many times have I said that? It's so true. But understanding that helped me get so much grace. But that was for me searching for answers, searching for solutions, searching to understand my feelings, not running away from them or avoiding them or saying, oh, I don't care. Because I do care. A lot. And that's just real. You got to be real with yourself. So that was another example that really helped a ton. Another thing that was really reassuring was a lot of our mutual friends saying like, finally, when we broke up, when I left, when I moved out, a lot of our mutual friends were like, finally. And I was like, what? And they're like, you deserve better. Like, you literally deserve somebody so much better. And like, that was like, just like, to me, that everybody around me knew, even our mutual friends, it was kind of crazy, but it was very reassuring for me. It definitely helped. And it was just like a warm hug, from all of our mutual friends being like, finally, Kobe, like, we've been waiting for this day. And it was so touching. I still remember a lot of those sentiments and those moments where, a lot of our friends were like, hey, like, finally, congratulations. And it's crazy. It's so crazy to think about, but I'm grateful for that. And then also too, a lot of my close friends just being like, yeah, I caught a bad vibe from him from the jump, and they're like, obviously I'm not going to say anything because, I don't want to intervene with what you got going on. But a lot of people that love me were like, yeah, I didn't get the best vibe. I did not get the best vibe from him. And that, again, it was just really reassuring that like, okay, because, sometimes you go back in your head like, well, maybe should I have tried harder? Should I try to get, nope. This person's not for you. You suffered long enough. Move on. It was that extra little reassurance that helped. It really helped a lot. So those are just some examples of ways that I use a lot of these things that I'm telling you, like talk to people, try to expose yourself to new information, whether it be from talking to people and receiving a new perspective, listening to a podcast or a YouTube video, reading a book even. Just try to expose yourself to new information that can help enlighten your experience of you understanding and accepting whatever feelings you're feeling. And now the next part is turning this experience into something that you're grateful for. And this is the most beautiful part of healing, in my opinion. It's so it's just so great. The fact that you can take anything that you go through, I feel no matter how dark it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it is, and turn it into something that you can be like, thank you. Thank you for that experience. It's now behind me. It's just so beautiful. So, because you didn't go through all this for nothing. And there are definitely lessons to learn, but only if you are ready to learn them. If you are ready to receive these lessons, because when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's very much so the case here. If you don't care to learn from what you went through in the past, you're just going to keep going through it over and over and over again until you do learn. So I like to take everything hard that I go through as an opportunity to learn something new. I'm always like, what can I learn from this? What am I supposed to learn from this? And so some things to think about is like, what happened to me and why? How did I allow this to happen to me? What are some things that I can do to prevent this from happening? And then also too, taking accountability for what did I do wrong in the situation? Again, as easy as it is to be like, you, when somebody hurt you, in some way, shape, or form, you subjected yourself to that. And that's just the truth, So for example, as I was going through this process, one of the big things that I know that I did wrong in the situation is I stayed too long. I stayed way too long. There were several times where I had a feeling I should leave, but this was my first relationship, so I had to give myself grace. I wasn't sure in anything. Now I'm pretty sure. I'm not staying somewhere I don't belong. I learned my lesson. But at the time, I didn't know. I didn't really know. I wasn't really sure. I was very unsure about how should I react to this? How should I respond to this? Like the first time I got cheated on, I should have left. I should have left then. I should have left the second time. Unfortunately. But I learned a very valuable lesson. And I learned that I subjected myself to this longer than I should have because I stayed longer than I should have. So that was a really big thing. Another huge lesson that I learned when looking at, okay, what are some things that I did wrong in this situation? And like really being honest with yourself, piecing together anything you can find that you did, because you can control what you do. A huge lesson that I learned is you cannot change people. You cannot change people. And I really dove into this one. And so for me, like going into this relationship, I knew that my ex had a lot of issues and trauma and triggers and all this kind of stuff from his childhood. And what did I say before? Your trauma is yours to deal with, not anyone else's. But my Sagittarius optimistic ass was like, oh, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna make it all better. And so I tried. I made it my personal mission, my life mission to help him heal, to help him let go of and release all of these things. And it was literally to my detriment, because the thing that I learned is you cannot want better for somebody more than they want it for themselves. And that's exactly what my situation was. I wanted this for him so bad. So bad. I wanted him to be free. I didn't want him to have these triggers and to be triggered by this. And you hear a song, you know, you're triggered. Or my dad says, I love you. And you're triggered. You know, like I didn't want him to have to live life like that. So I literally tried everything. I feel like I exhausted every single option I could, and it all was a waste. But it was a lesson, a very valuable lesson learned. And the other thing I learned too was, again, just being super honest with yourself. In a way, it can kind of be seen as like a little bit selfish to try to change somebody for the better, even though it came from a place of love. It came genuinely from a place of like pure love, of like, I don't like seeing you, you know, triggered by every little thing. And I didn't want him to live like that, you know. It came out of a place of literally pure love, you know. But for you to think that you know what's best for another human being, you don't. That's between them and God. You cannot interfere with somebody else's path. You cannot interfere with somebody else's path, and you cannot speed up their path or their growth because it's convenient for you. Because it will be convenient for me for you to fix this, so I don't have to see you suffer anymore. Do you see how, like, even though it came from a place of love, like, I so desperately don't want to see you like this. If we weren't together, it wouldn't be as much of a priority for me. And in that case, like, I don't know. I just kind of, like, understood it as, like, who am I to say that you being better now, being better as quickly as you can, or whatever the case, is what's best for you. Maybe your path is different. Who knows? Not me, for sure. That's not my job or my responsibility to know. And so that was just an extremely valuable lesson that I learned. And it was just like, you have to allow people to be who they're going to be. You be who you're going to be. And if it's out of alignment, you leave them where they're at. You cannot change them. That was a huge lesson I learned. Again, being just really honest with, what did I do wrong in the situation? I tried to change you. While it was for the better and it was out of pure love, that's not my job. That is only a job that you can do. You can only control what you do. I can't control what somebody else does. And I also feel like, too, that's a lesson that kind of made it easier for me to be able to find who my actual person is. Because now I know to let people be who they're going to be. And if it's in alignment and it works out, then awesome. Green flag. And if it doesn't, yellow flag. Let's go the other way before it turns to a red one. I can look back and be grateful for this now. I'm grateful for this experience. But it took me really digging to want to know and learn as much as I can learn from the situation and heal and process everything and understand my feeling. It took doing that hard work for me to get here. It's definitely not easy, but it's so worth it. Another very valuable lesson I learned is when people tell you who they are, believe them. There were situations with my ex where he would be like, oh, you know, I used to be crazy. Like, but I'm not like that anymore. I don't want to be like that anymore. But yeah, I used to be so crazy. I used to be so wild. You're literally telling me straight to my face who you are for real. But because you're saying it so obviously, it just kind of feels like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, you're not like that anymore. No, you were telling me exactly who you are for real. He would be like, oh, I used to lie. I used to be a liar. Like, I just lie for no reason. Like, I would just lie. Like, I just tell a lie. Like, it didn't matter. I was just gonna tell a lie. I was just gonna lie. But I don't want to do that with you. Guess what happened as soon as we broke up? The lies. It was like a marathon. And they were dumb lies too. Like, I'm already a Sagittarius, so I'm gonna find out everything. But the fact that the lies, it seemed like you weren't even trying. Like, my dog unzipped your backpack. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so many lies in those 7 days. It was like insult to my like intelligence, and like I was heated. Because don't lie to me. I'll respect you and all the crap that you're doing if you're just honest about it. But the fact that you're lying to me, that literally sent me over the edge. Like, it was, man, that was probably the worst thing. The worst part of all of this. Nah, probably not the worst, but it was up there. You know, it like added fuel to the fire. And then another beautiful thing that I am really grateful for this whole experience is that being in a relationship like this, it helped me see what I do want. Seeing so much of what I don't want helped me understand more of what I do want. And so that's going to help me better recognize what I do want when I see it. Overall, it's a net positive situation. Sure, I had to go through the ringer and it took me a whole year of processing to get through it. But I come out such a better man because of it, you know? Not because of it, because it took me having the courage to face it and do all this work to become to come out on the other end, not the same person or not worse. Because some situations like this will turn somebody worse. Situations like this make people be like, oh, F love. Situations like this make people turn evil because they were exposed to it. And instead of stepping above it, because it's hard work to do, you just stoop below it, you know? This is real. This really happens. But so I'm really grateful for the experience because it lit a fire in me to overcome it. And now I've become a whole new person on the other end of it. A whole new person. Like me 12 months ago to me today, crazy difference. And I think too, just like being able to take a really, really, really dark situation and turn it into something so bright and positive and like forward moving in my life, it like, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of being able to come out on the other end of it on top, but also too like instilled more confidence in me because I know I got my back. You know what I'm saying? Like I had my back through all of that. I did not let myself go. I did not let myself turn into somebody I'm not. I did not let myself be taken down to the dark side. You know? I didn't. And it just instilled this even more confidence in myself. They're like, yeah, can't nothing take me out, you know? And I think that that's just such a beautiful element of everything that happened. I feel like I see the world so differently now. I have so much grace in the world now dealing with people because I understand so much more about people and why they do the things they do. And I don't know, I just feel like a better person. And I already felt like a good person, but now it got even better. And I don't know, I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for the whole thing. All of it, the good parts, the bad parts, the worst parts. Because had it not been for that experience, who would I be right now? I don't know. And not to say that me a year ago was a terrible person, but I'm just so excited for who I am now and looking forward to who I can become, you know? So I am super grateful, but I also think it's important to note that healing is not a linear process. Some days are going to feel better than others. Some days are going to be great. Some days are going to be hard, you know? But I think as you keep going, you tend to have more and more and more and more of the better days until all your days are better days. And you know you're healed when you don't have an emotional response anymore to this person or thing that hurt you. So you hear their name and you don't feel anything. Like genuinely, you don't feel anything. Or, you know, you even you see them and you don't feel anything. Or you hear their favorite song. Or there was a movie that you used to watch together and it was your favorite movie. Or you go to your favorite restaurant and you just don't feel anything anymore. That's how you know you're healed. But I think the other end of this is you never know when you're actually fully healed until you're challenged in a way that poses an opportunity for you to get an emotional response about it or not. If you don't, that means you've healed from the situation. But if you do, that means there's some more work to do. And so I'll give you guys an example. For me personally, I thought I was fully healed. I was fully good. And then my ex came to visit me at work. How fantastic. And when I tell you guys, like, I was anxious for like the next couple hours. And luckily, like, I love the people I work with. We're like a family. And like, as soon as they knew it was him, they were like, Kobe, Go to the bag. Like, this is embarrassing. I'm sorry you're even having to deal with this right now. Go to the bag. I got it. So they dealt with him. But I was really anxious for like the next couple hours. And, you know, it had been 8 months since we had seen each other. So I thought like I was good. And then boom, an opportunity came to challenge, have I healed or not? And apparently, because I did have such a strong emotional response, you know, there was some more work to be done, you know? And so I took that as an opportunity to further explore, why did I feel like that? What made me feel like that? You know, and really sit with that and think, and, you know, look up resources if I need it. And what I came to realize was I was feeling a little bit of like jealousy towards him because he got to experience me and my love, and I didn't. And he didn't deserve it. I felt like if somebody loved me, I gave you my all. And if somebody loves me the way I loved you, I would be so happy. I would be so fulfilled. I wouldn't take it for granted. And so a part of me felt jealous that like you got to experience that and I didn't. I got to experience all this stuff that I just told y'all about, you know, and you got to experience me and my everything. You know, I literally tried everything, poured everything into you, you know? And it was just like, there was like definitely like a little bit of like jealousy towards like, damn, like I feel like I deserved that and you didn't deserve that. So now I'm a bit embarrassed that I even did all that I did for you because you didn't even deserve it. And then for you to just like throw it in the trash and like treat me like a stranger, like it just felt even worse. And so there was a little part of me who wanted to see him not be okay. Like it kind of felt like you could not be alive and that would be totally fine for me. It actually inspired a song, my favorite song and my biggest hit so far. Like everyone that hears it loves that song, but it inspired that song and it literally felt like you could not be here and that would help me sleep at night. I don't mean that literally. I sleep very well every night. Even when I was going through this, I slept better. But yeah, understanding that this is where these feelings were coming is because I was feeling jealous that you got to experience me and my love. And I kind of wanted you to not be okay. Like I would want to see you like hurt or not well or whatever the case may be. Like just genuine, honest, true, full truth of the feelings. That was why those feelings came up when he popped up. And so what I had to do was I just had to keep reminding myself like, Kobe, you're grateful for this experience. It taught you so much. You have turned such a dark experience into such a positive experience, and it has made you a man that you're so proud to be today. And you're grateful for that. So be grateful for him. Be grateful for him. Give him grace. You understand that hurt people. And deep down, there's like, you know, inner child in there like screaming, crying for help. That literally just like ripped out any ill will, any ill feelings I had towards him, and it really started to make me be like, dang, like, you know, I hope one day like you get it together. I hope one day that you like heal and like just set yourself free, you know? And I think like, I don't know, even that was just like such a beautiful experience. And again, just helped me have so much grace towards people in general. Everybody's going through things or going through things, and everybody isn't equipped with the tools or the mentality or the mindset to handle them. And that kind of dictates how they end up and who they sort of become, you know? But it's on them to fix it. It's nothing you can do, nothing I can do. Something anybody can do outside of a specific individual to help them, to fix them. You know, they have to want to do it themselves. And so I would just keep saying that to myself. Like I would just keep reassuring myself of these things. Like, you know, I'm grateful for my experience with my ex, as it, you know, helped me stand up and overcome another challenge and help me turn myself into somebody that I'm so proud to be today. Like I'm grateful for this experience. I just had to keep reassuring myself of that, just so I could heal that little part of me that, you know, was bitter, was like jealous, you know, like damn, like you got to experience something I wish I could have experienced, you know? And I think coming from that negative place, you're not gonna attract that in your life, you know? Feeling like, oh, I wish I could have experienced that. I deserved it. Hey, you do, but until you believe that truly, you're not going to get it, you know? And so I just had to reassure myself with these positive thoughts of, hey, this experience was net positive for me, and it has beautifully turned into something that I'm so grateful for now, and all that kind of stuff. It helped me free myself from being triggered by him. And then what'd you think, guys? So literally Monday, all right, I got back from Antigua, and so flying back from Antigua, we had a connecting flight in Miami. Why was he on my flight coming home from Miami? And y'all, I was not triggered. I was not triggered. There was definitely a little like, oh boy, well, I hope we're not sitting next to each other. You know, like that was like, I hope we are not sitting next to each other on this flight, you know? But I didn't feel that trigger, that anger, that ugh. I didn't feel that at all. And it was just so beautiful. Like that whole flight home, like I even cried like on the plane ride home, just thinking about my journey and like my growth and like how like literally 12 months ago, like it felt like my whole life fell apart, you know? Like literally fell apart, came crumbling down, came crashing down. But I had the courage to stand up and heal my heart and look to the light, you know, and like not let this whole situation turn me into somebody that I would not be proud to be. And like 12 months later, man, like we had a whole 3-hour plane ride home together, and I was just like so grateful, you know, like man, I really came such a long way. It was so beautiful. Like I know it sounds weird to say, it was so beautiful. Like man, it was such a cool experience. And so, you know, now I feel pretty healed, you know, but again, you never know until you're challenged by something else that might cause you to be triggered, and you don't want to put yourself in those positions. So you just kind of don't know for sure, or really ever, if you're fully all the way healed, I would say. But I'm satisfied. You know, I'm very proud of myself, my journey, and it's, you know, it's just so beautiful being on the other end of it and just being here, you know, happy and joyful and free, you know. Nobody's triggering me. No song is triggering me. Nobody's name is triggering me. Nobody's face is triggering me. I'm free. And that's such a beautiful feeling, and it's so worth it. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. That is the end of it for me. I hope that you learned something new here. I hope that maybe you got to release and shed a few tears while you were watching. I hope that hearing my story and my experience and my journey maybe has inspired you to want to, you know, sort of dive into and explore your feelings and what's going on and how you feel about things, and reach out for help or talk to somebody about how you're feeling about something, and just really, like, I don't know, lean towards healing, lean towards the light, so that way you can be free and be outside this summer. Okay, I finished my hair quite a while ago, but you know, I just wanted to finish what I was saying, you know what I'm saying, because I just feel like this is so important, and I'm like very passionate about these kind of things. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I hope that this was valuable for you, and I hope you learned something and just feel inspired, or maybe just had a good story time, good little chit chat, and I will see you in my next video.